Alright guys, we're going to be working on page 92 in our math book. Let's go ahead, let's take a look at problem number 1. Noelle brought 2 half-gallon cartons of lemonade for her lemonade stand. How many ounces of lemonade did she buy? Well, I know that she's going to have 2 times half, and that will tell me how many gallons she has, but I'm not sure how many ounces are in a gallon. But once I know, I would multiply this number by the ounces. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. I'm going to go ahead and turn to page 328 in my SRB. On page 328, I can come on over to U.S. customary system and go on down to units of capacity. Capacity means how much something can hold. And this has to do with liquid, like how much liquid can your water bottle hold. I'm going to find gallons, and I can see that 1 gallon is 4 quarts, but that doesn't tell me how many quarts are in, how many ounces are in a gallon. So I'm going to have to do a lot of backwards thinking here. Let's come and find ounces. My goodness, we don't have ounces for a while. 1 cup is 8 ounces. And then I'm going to work my way up. 1 pint is 2 cups. So if 1 pint is 2 cups, and there's 8 ounces in a cup, 1 pint is 16 cups. So it's a lot of backwards thinking there. So 1 pint, I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. 1 pint, not 16 cups, sorry, equals 16 ounces. Okay? I'm going to continue my thinking. So I have 1 pint, and that equals 16 ounces. Well, how much? And we got to keep on going. So 1 quart is 2 pints. So if 1 pint is 16 ounces, 1 quart is 2 pints. Well, 2 times 16 is 32 ounces. So now I know how many ounces are in a quart. And if I have a gallon, I have 4 quarts. So I have 4 quarts equals how many ounces? I'm going to multiply that by 4. So 32 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. So 128 ounces. Oops. So once I find my answer here, I'm going to multiply it by 128. So half times 2. Well, that's just like half plus half. And what is half plus half? Well, it's 1. And what is 1 times 128? It's 128. So she has 128 ounces. And I need to put this here. This equals, I'm not going to do O because O gets tricky. I'll just do Z. Equals Z for ounces. The student council has $289 to spend on decorations for the fall festival. If decorations for each table cost $13, how many tables can they decorate? So they're starting with $289, and they're splitting that amongst among $13, like, so it's in groups. They're going to have some pretty fancy table setups because each table is going to cost $13 to decorate. How many tables can they decorate? That's going to be T. I'm going to use my graph paper to help me divide. I have 289 because that's how much money we have. And I'm dividing by 13. Can 13 go into 2? No, it cannot. Can 13 go into 28? Yes, it can. But how many times? So I'm going to think. 13 times what is 28? Well, I know 13 times 2 is 26, and I can't get any closer without going over. So I just multiply. Now I'm going to subtract. And then bring down. How many 13s are in 29? Same thing. I'm going to think about it. Oh, 2 again. And 13 times 2 is 26. I'm going to subtract. So my quotient is 22, and my remainder is 3. We can decorate 22 tables and have $3 left over that we can't do anything with. Now number 3 and number 5 they go together. Number 3 I'm going to solve, and then number 5 I would draw a picture. So I'm going to do both as we go along. The 5th grade teachers ordered 3 boxes of clay. They want to share it equally among their 4 classes. How much clay does each class get? Well, first I need to have my stuff. Well, what's my stuff? I have 3, and how am I splitting it? Into classes. And that will tell me how much clay I'm going to use. So I'm going to use the variable of C for clay. Now, this is where the picture is going to come in handy. Here's one box of clay, another box, and another box. I drew my 3 boxes of clay. I'm going to divide each of them into fourths, sorry. So teacher 1 was going to get a little bit from here, and a little bit from here, and a little bit from here. That would be 1 class, right? And then to the 2nd class, and the 3rd class, and the 4th class. So each class is going to get 1, 2, 3 out of 4. They're going to get 3/4. And if you remember from earlier, we learned that this first number, the divisor, can become the numerator, and the dividend oh my gosh, I said that completely wrong. The first number, our dividend, becomes the numerator here, and our divisor is the denominator. I'm sorry, I mixed up those words. Move the digits in 62,250, 130, oh my goodness, I need to slow down, 625,134 to create a new number. So I have this 6-digit number, and I'm going to write the answer here. So I always like to put the blanks so I know what I'm dealing with. 1, 2, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. So I have my 6 blanks here. The 2 is worth 1/10 as much. So if it's worth 1/10 as much, that means that number is going backwards. So my 10th was in the 10,000s place. It's now going back to the thousands place. So it's going to go right here. I'm going to check that one off because I did that. Move the 3 so it's worth 10 times as much. So if it's 10 times as much, it means it's getting bigger. It's going to move up 1 place from the tens to the hundreds. Move the 5 so it's worth 50,000. That means the 5's in the 10,000s place. Move the 4 so the value changes to 4 times 100,000. So that means the 4 is in the 100,000s place. Move the 1 and 6 so that the sum of their values is 16. So if I were to put this 6 in the tens place, that would mean I'd have 60 plus 1, which would be 61. Well, that doesn't equal 16. So if the 6 is in the ones place, and the 10 is in the 1 is in the tens place, I have 10 plus 6, I get 16. So make sure you have all of that filled in on page 94.